What's up? My name is Clay Kane. I am the author of the New York Times bestseller, Burn Down Master's House. This book is historical fiction based on real people who fought back. And in this time where our history is being erased, there are attacks on who we are as a people. This book is revolutionary, it is rebellion, and I encourage you to pick it up. Share it with a friend, spread the word like fire. Once again, Burn Down Master's House, a New York Times bestseller by Clay Kane.
Yes, Clay Kane! New York Times best-selling author, to quote our dear sister Reese Colbert.
Right.
We are so proud of you, Clay. Talk to us about how you feel in this particular moment. There's so much on the line. We know that the U.S. Report came out, and USA Today, and you are right there where we knew you were going to be. We've got other publications also looking at what's happening. Your book has been selling like cooked food in a hungry community. And so it has done phenomenally well. You are, it feels like at the height of your career when it comes to this particular phase. How are you feeling and taking all this in right now?
I feel really grateful for y'all, for this audience. You know, the fact this book is so successful at this point. At this point, Burn Down Master's House, it sold more than the first 2 weeks of the Rift combined.
Whew.
So people are hungry for the story.
Yeah.
They're hungry for the truth.
Yeah.
They're hungry for stories of rebellion, of resistance. Not the Kanye West version of slavery. Not the Florida governor version of slavery. Not tearing down exhibits that honored enslaved people who were owned by George Washington and doing that in my hometown of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
People are craving that. I've got so many responses from people. I mean, I never published fiction before. I've always wrote fiction, but never published it. So to have this response is beautiful, but it really is y'all. I can't say it enough. Y'all have, the publishing industry is just so vicious. It's so cruel.
Yeah.
It can beat you down. It can beat your creativity down. It can really hurt your soul. So to have y'all up for me means everything. I've just been on SiriusXM, a lot of social media. Joyanne Reid show, that was a biggie. We had a robust conversation. But for the most part, I've gotten no legacy media press. And but for it to, it shows that they are not the gatekeepers.
That's right.
It shows that. And so y'all have showed up, and I just want these stories to be out there. And it's historical fiction, right? But I want people to know these people and think about the stories of enslaved people in a different way. And then I'll say lastly, just ancestral. You know, from the people who I named in this book after my ancestors to my girl Alexa, who passed away May 25th at 11:40 a.m. I just feel like a lot is with me right now, and I'm really grateful.
Let's turn to some of the burning themes in the book, Clay, because it's not just the characters that I've connected with so much. And there are some characters I absolutely love, some I could not stand. And I know that I see the heads shaking. I know that that's true for the rest of you all as well. But it's not just the named characters that feature very prominently in this book. There are the characters take on different forms, like spirituality. I had not been prepared for the way in which you treat the way that people are connected, not just to their physical, the other people on the plantation with them, but how they are connecting to the beyond, how they are drawing on not just the religious formats that they had been taught, but how they have carried with them all of these elements from African ancestral wisdom. You really treat the spiritual power of what's happening with the characters in this book almost as a living being as much as any of the, Charity or Larkin. Talk to us about why it was so important for you to infuse that. And I'm thinking particularly of conversations between Mama Bess and Josephine, where at one point Mama Bess is quoting scripture and then she's reading them cowrie shells, right? And so she's getting different bits of wisdom from all of it in a way that we don't often see that sort of fusion. Talk to us about why that was such an important track for you to take.
There's this stereotype that enslaved people were just, God and Milky Road to heaven and one day the promised land. And in my research, there was some of that, but that wasn't nearly all of it.
Right.
We had just as diverse spirituality back then as we do now. And growing up in Philadelphia, I was around a good amount of people that practice Islam, of course, but also folks who were Yoruba. Then moving to New York and meeting folks who are Santeria, and these are all like African retentions, right?
Right.
So I studied this stuff in college. I wrote about African faith in college, and I knew that I wanted to show again a different version of what resistance via spirit looks like. You know, it is otherworldly. And one would have to only assume that if you were part of the transatlantic slave trade, you would bring those things with you.
Of
'Cause
course.
where do you go when all things fall apart? You go to your prayer, your God, your belief. And it's funny, I haven't gotten this question yet. And it really is another character in the
Yes.
book
Yes.
that also, when characters transition, there is freedom in that transition.
Yes.
Sometimes they have to burn things down in a very unique way. There's one character, Emma Jane. She has a smaller role, but that's my grandmother's name. So it is ancestral. It is African spirituality in the way that I'm lifting up their power.
Yeah.
This faith that tells you that you being a slave is designed by God. That you must obey your master. That you take this structure that's very oppressive and you find freedom in it. And I see like gay folks do that too. This book that's telling them you're going to hell, you're an abomination, you're a sinner. What's that line? Love the sin,
Hate the
all
sinner.
that
Right. Love the
bullshit,
sinner. Hate the
whatever it
sin.
is, right,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
But
Word
but
salad.
yet I know so many gay, especially black gay folks, who are still in their church,
Yeah.
who are still serving God and standing up. So that is the beauty about blackness and black people. I always say we were the first progressives. We were the original progressives.
Maybe the only true
Right.
progressives.
We were the
Yeah.
original liberators.
That's right.
Not Abraham Lincoln.
Come on.
Not Thaddeus Stevens. We were the
Oh.
original ones, right? So the way they can, and so it's not an indictment of Christianity, not at all. I don't want anybody to think that. I'm just saying that the way we were able to hold on to it, reinvent it, and then bring in our other experiences is really fascinating.
I felt the spirit of James Cone, who is many of us consider the father of liberation theology, as I was reading it. And I'm turning now to this section where Mama Bess and Josephine are having this discussion, and it felt like this was one of the truest interpretations of the Word of God that I had ever experienced, right? And so when Mama Bess says, "I call this an act of God," now we're not gonna say what she's calling an act of God because ain't no spoilers, but she says, "I call it an act of God," and then she quotes Scripture, "Let your requests be made known unto God," and she says, "I believe the Lord put it in my hands to do his work, no sin in fighting for your freedom." It feels to me like this is the only true interpretation of biblical text that is in alignment with at least what the words of Jesus was saying.
Right.
I don't know, how did you, because liberation theology, I think, is such an important outlet for people who are practicing within the faith. How is it that you were able to weave that in, and why did that matter?
Part of the reason why it matters is because the way that we're thinking of white Christian nationalism.
Yes.
Right? So that completely contradicts that line. She is able to put her revolution, her fire, her fighting back as an act of God, not the idea of being submissive. And also it's important to note, Reese was saying this, with that line in Old Mama Bess, she is also has her own autonomy.
Yes.
She's not doing it to save
Yes.
her husband. She's not doing it to save children. It is solely, and nothing wrong with that, but it's solely about her. When you think of the way that women are presented in rebellions, it is always connected to men or children.
Right.
This is her saying, what needs to be done is going to be done.
Right.
Let your request be made known to God. Now, what is her God? Her God looks different than Mistress Kitty.
Right.
Than the Raglins.
Right.
Than Junior. Right? Her God, than Lila Ann. Her God looks different. She calls it an act of God.
Yeah.
Let your request be made known to God. So when her God is her ancestors, her God is her roots, her God, it's those shells right there. So that was such an important, because some folks have interpreted it as violence. No, it's an act of God.
There's a point where, and I'm looking for the Post-it note. As you can see, I have several. But there's a point where she says, there's a line where she says, basically, wisdom and knowing God is also about knowing when to strike back.
Yes.
And that, to me, was such a powerful twist on the turn the other cheek methodology and the framing that we have been taught, that part of your way of exemplifying what God is and how God is moving in your life is how humble you can be and how much you can take. And she says, some of being a reflection of of God is in when to knowing when to strike back.
Yes.
We never get to that latter part. Those of us who are part of the global majority, living in this society, socialized the way that they are, the way that we are, talk to us about what has to happen. And I heard you say this today on your show where you were talking about Gil Scott-Heron when he talks about the revolution will not be televised. And you had mentioned the fact that, and you played a clip where he says, the only reason you ain't going to televise is because the revolution got to happen up here first. What has to happen in the mind, spirit, soul of a people who are oppressed to shift from the turn the other cheek sort of reflection of God to the now it's time to strike back?
I think what's important about that is the idea of passing it on. So you'll read this in the chapter. Bess is triggering somebody else.
Yeah.
Bess is lighting a flame for somebody else, right? And without that flame being now that character already has some other. She's seen some flames before, but she needed that push from an elder.
Yeah.
From a woman to tell her, to give her to say, hey, I believe that the time to strike is now.
Yeah.
How long are you going to hold out? So when I think about like one flame sparking a million fires, that's what that is. So, and Luke does that for Henry.
Yes.
And this goes on.
Yes.
It's a theme. It's a thread throughout the book. And then also, one of the lines that said throughout the book is, "Don't let them take what they can't touch." Right. So, that character hearing that from Bess, she already has other flames in her past.
Right.
But when she hears that from Bess, oh Mama Bess, it all comes into one place.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what I have. I know what they can't touch. I know what I can do in there. Because you think that I'm going to be subservient to you. You think on this day, a few days after Independence Day in this country, that you're going to celebrate and you're going to continue to reflect on those fireworks you saw with your two children. That is the trigger. That is the activation. And that's what you do every day on these airwaves. We're not going to do exactly what they did in the book. It was a different time.
Yeah.
But the history rhymes.
Yes.
So you do that every day. You activate. Karen does that every day. We activate. A caller said it last week. Knowledge manages terror.
Oh,
right?
that was so good.
Whatever y'all do in your world, how are you activating and triggering other people? So it is about that trigger. And so when she gets that, and then something else more spiritual happens, there's a hesitation there. That character is unsure. Why now? Why now?
Yeah.
So that's what it's about. That's why it's important to go on that other side of it. And also, Bess knew her talents. And she had those talents once upon a time. It's layered there. But it is that trigger that's really, really important.
Following Mama Bess and her discussion about her talents
Yes.
made me realize how many of these stories we really have never told. There are so many examples of resistance, and you describe resistance at one point in the book early on when we're meeting Henry. I didn't know to call him Henri or Henry because of the Haitian influence, but there's a point where you talk about the fact that resistance came in an extra hour of sleep, of staring at somebody in their face too hard, letting a tool fall, allowing something to break. All of these small, seemingly insignificant efforts at resistance that culminate in the raging fires that ended up doing what fire naturally does. The nature of resistance, as you said, is different now. The nature of being full-fledged human beings is different now, and yet history is still rhyming. Which of these characters do you think has one of the most important messages or one of the most central messages for those of us who are figuring out what that history rhyme looks like today?
Actually, it's the last character, Nathaniel, who is a black enslaver. I had to make Tim Scott and Byron Donaldson.
Come on. You did that. And that his name was Nathaniel as juxtaposition to Nat Turner, I thought was like, woo!
Yes, right,
Okay.
Right. So that character is so important, and because we're seeing this so much today.
Yeah.
The ways in which the people who look like us are upholding white supremacy.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous. It's a sickness. It's nefarious. And so that character really, in some ways, is an ode to the grip, based on two black enslavers. And the historical notes around them, it's just stunning, right? But it's important because he is competing to be the greatest white supremacist that he can be. He is fighting for it. He is competing with it. And that's what I'm seeing today in a lot of people.
Yeah.
Competing for the chart you can go on, the white supremacy chart, right? How will you be rewarded?
Yeah.
How will you be celebrated? And then when you realize all things fall apart, will we let you back into the culture, right? And
After you get your N-word wake-up call.
exactly. So that really, and it's the last chapter,
Yeah.
and the resistance and the revolution and the fire in that chapter is symbolic of so many things.
Yes.
And this is, I'm talking about intraracial at this point.
That's right. That's right.
It's very layered and heavy, and that I think really rhymes and really shows where we are. And most black enslavers owned their family out of protection. This particular one didn't. And that's what I'm seeing now, that how can I get ahead? Me. And hey, if you have money, if you have the power, if you have the access, then that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. So that's a character. And then, I mean, there's him, but there's also just the way of Luke and Henry,
Yeah.
where these are two what we now call gay characters. That isn't a spoiler at this point. But in the beginning, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't
yeah.
know, right? But for me, that rhymes in a way, because ultimately the book is about the fight for love,
Yeah.
the fight for your right to exist. And there's been very few representations of two men who fell in love during this time. But we have to assume that it happened.
Yeah.
We have to assume
Absolutely.
assume that it was there. It's always been there, right?
Yeah.
So I know some folks have gotten pissed off, and you predicted that. They've gotten angry about that, but you should be angry.
I think I told you, well, Clay, you've been gay all your life, so I'm sure you good. You ready for it? You good?
Exactly. But the reaction that I've been hearing over that, it rhymes.
Yeah. It also rhymes.
Like, wow, in 2026, this kind of reaction.
Yeah.
And mind you, these are revolutionary characters.
Yes. Some of the most
Yes,
revolutionary characters.
they ain't a game.
Yeah.
You know? But the problem is that we only see LGBT folks below the groin.
Right.
We never see them above the groin.
Right.
So we're only thinking about the sex.
Yes.
Not thinking about love. And in that particular chapter, there's one character who for a minute sees this flicker of intimacy between two people, regardless of their gender. And it shakes her.
Yeah.
She had never seen
First time
love.
she's ever seen love.
Seen love in front of her.
Yes.
Yes. So Nathaniel, Luke, and Henry, and all of them, and then they're connected towards the end. So that's how I see the rhyming.
Can we talk about somebody I loved to hate?
Yes.
Miss Kitty.
Miss Kitty.
I can't stand Miss Kitty. I could not stand Miss Kitty. Mistress Kitty represented so much. She and Lady Baynard, to me, were such wonderful examples of everything we have come to despise about people who uphold those systems, particularly people who are in female bodies. And yet, Miss Clara, who I feel like as people are being a little more generous with Miss Clara than they need to be, because even though we see what we see with Miss Kitty and Lady Baynard, Miss Clara is a softer, kinder, gentler version of that very same thing. And I raise them because no one is spared in this book. If you deserve a little heat, you're gonna catch the heat. And I raise that because when we were at Strand and you were doing the first day the book came out, there was a gentleman there who was a part of your crew who had been able to read the book ahead of time, and he says that he was raised in, I believe, Kansas, maybe? Raised in Kansas to be a calm, non-angry black man. Exactly. And had to be raised that way because he was a richly melanated brother growing up in Kansas in a community where you could not allow anger to be an emotion that you could wear that could be visibly interpreted. And he said in that meeting or in that session that reading this book gave him permission to be angry. And in addition to spirituality being a character in this book, I also felt like rage. Anger was a very present character, a very important character. And I'm wondering, because we as a people who have been socialized to be non-angry Negroes in this society, whether we got a little bit of it or not, how were you able to tap into that level of permission for yourself? Because the permission you've given the rest of us to sit with the anger it's been in my moment of gratitude ever since Strand. Like, I can't let it go. How were you able to tap into that, an emotion that for many of us avoiding also was a sign of success? Avoiding that emotion has been a survival skill for many of us.
You know, it's interesting. You said at Strand that, and I think you may have been quoting somebody else, anger is
not a sign of sickness.
Yes, it's not a sign of sickness. Anger is a reckoning.
Yes.
And we're always told to don't be angry, calm down, don't say too much, don't do too much. So there is a rage in this book, a beautiful rage in the book.
It's lovely.
It's not angry,
Exquisite.
right? It's not angry for the sake of being angry. And when you talk about the white women in the book, I'm also pointing out the complicity of white
Yes.
women during slavery,
That's right.
their role during slavery. But part of the reason why there is this beautiful rage in the book is because my dear friend Alexa, who passed away, she was pretty angry in a great way.
Yeah.
And she was reading the book the last months of her life, and she was pushing me. She goes, go further, go all the way. You know what's in you. You know what's in us. Go further, push this. So in the last months of her life, having lupus, being sick, being angry,
Yeah.
not understanding the healthcare system in New York. She was a teacher for 25 years and didn't have the healthcare she deserved.
Wow.
She had a kidney transplant. There was a feeling caged in her own body. So there was that. Then, as I revealed a week ago or so, I was dealing with esophagitis out of nowhere.
Right.
I was in a deep space of not knowing what was going to happen, thinking of my own mortality. It was terrifying. And there was anger in that as well, right? And really my only solace, it was these characters.
Wow.
That's when I was able to escape, and I was writing it in pain. I was writing it in physical pain. It was terrifying. So it was hard to leave my house because I was so ill. So I felt like I was enraged. And so I wanted to channel that somewhere. And then so when I find these characters who I knew some of their stories years ago, it all just kind of flowed and connected. It's unapologetic.
Yeah.
It's intentional. It's not accidental. It's long term. The book covers a 30-year period. And I had to focus and marinate on that and see how it's not just, one point of view, one character, we're going to follow it. This is a thread. It's about community, not the individual. So when I say burn down Master's house, I'm also thinking in myself, what do I got to burn down? I had so much fears. Fear of my friend dying, fear of myself, questioning my own mortality. What do I have to escape from? What chain do I have to break? So all of that is in there. And there is a rage, and I make no apologies for it. I make no excuses for it. I think anger and rage is a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It's how you channel it.
Yes.
It's how you channel it. And that's where I channel it.
I want to ask about the connection between Miss Emily. There's a character who makes a transition, and Luke and Henry are going through some things.
Yes.
Part of their healing process is connecting with Miss Emily, not as she's physically here, but as she is made transition. There, to me, again, the themes of spirit and the connection between spirit, soul, body, physical, and ethereal are so prevalent here. But part of the healing process for them and what they had gone through required them to rely on their ancestors. What should we take from that? Those of us who, frankly, are taught to, well, that's a little woo-woo-woo. You talking about dead people. The only ancestor we can talk about is the one whose body we eat and blood we drink in a non-cannibalistic ceremony in church called communion. You see what I did there. Talk to us about the nature of freedom if one is not connected ancestrally, if one does not have some sort of, because we see at one point Henry has to tap into his culture to be able to help Miss Emily make what she has to have, what happens with her. Why is that connection important, and what happens when we don't nurture it?
My God, I almost want to read that part, but that would give too much away. My God.
I had to close the book, so I didn't.
Exactly, and I saw it. The reason why pretty much all the characters are able to survive, more or less, is because they are tapped into their ancestors. And I was saying this before, I really have a belief that in the last few months of your life, especially if it's illness, and I saw it via Alexa, I believe you are already transforming into what we would call an angel. I believe it's already happening. I believe you are so close to that. Oh my gosh, I'm about to tear up because she knew Alexa and Miss Carol, her mother, passed recently. So I'll edit this out. Oh, we miss Miss Carol. Thank you for being here. It's all right. All right. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, so I believe that you were already transforming into an angel. And the knowledge that Alexa gave me in the last months of her life, the knowledge my grandfather who died of prostate cancer gave me in the last months of his life, in 1999, that was a very long time ago. The knowledge my Aunt Patsy gave me when she passed away at 44 years old from an asthma attack suddenly. Before she passed, she was giving me all this knowledge. It was very weird. There was no sign she was going to pass. My brother passed away in his 30s, and we had an up and down relationship. And he called me like a week before he passed. I got to talk to you. I got to talk to you. I got to talk to you. What do you want to talk to me about? And he said, I want you to know I love you. I'm like, Derek, you always work on my nerves. Like, what's going on? He passed away a week later. I believe something happens where you become angelic, where you are already becoming a spirit. You're already becoming an ancestor. And that's the way you survive. And the reason why those characters survived, you know, the enslavers thought we're killing somebody off.
Yeah.
You may have thought that, or whatever you think happens when they transition. But maybe you were just emboldening them. You know, you're giving them more strength. So that's a really important part of the book. And it is it's an ongoing theme. It's an ongoing theme of what this life means. One line is, we in this life that ain't no life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So all of that is in there. And they rely on Miss Emily.
Yes.
She's there. And
Yes.
Miss Emily, that's, I think it's my great-great-great-grandmother.
Wow.
Who we believe was enslaved.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like I said before, the main characters are all named after real people. The secondary characters are all my ancestors in Gooseland, Virginia. They're all there. So it's all connected, and I really believe there is something that happens in those final moments, those final months or weeks, where you're going over there and
Yeah.
you're being welcomed.
Yeah.
And so it's a really powerful part of the book.
My last question, because I know we want to get questions from the audience as well. Let's talk about ritual a little bit. Ritual is something that I think, and I'd heard it, maybe it was Dr. Daniel Black who said it this way. I usually attribute things that I can't remember who said it, but it was somebody wise to somebody like a Dr. Daniel Black. And he said something to the effect that ritual is where we create an opportunity for humanity and divinity to connect. Unfortunately, as a result of the way we have been socialized, ritual has been demonized. The ability to have practices and tools, and we see with Henry where he knows the words to say at a particular time, where we see again the ability to read cowrie shells, the importance of dirt, recognizing, and that was my girl. But a lot of us have been disconnected from ritual as a proactive way of separating us from a source of power. We know both you and I are degreed in Black studies. I would love to read whatever you wrote about Black people and spirituality in college. My thesis was on the Black presence in the Bible. I love you so much. I love you so much. But I'm curious because ritual is something that we know from historical study. We know that banning the talking drum, the ability to communicate with our tools, banning our ability to speak in our languages, banning our spiritual practices, this was all part of the proactive, successful enslavers toolkit. And so I'm curious because when I read this, I called my sister who's a hoodooista. I was like, Tanita, that's my daughter. I was like, Tanita, tell me what you think about this. And she was like, oh yeah, girl, because but don't play with that though, because you don't be studying the way I be studying. I was like, don't you worry, I call you for these sorts of things. Why is ritual still one of the most important things we can tap into? And how do we overcome the fear that some of the messages that we've been taught have instilled in us and have caused us to shy away from it? But here we see, but for some of these rituals, we're not getting the same sort of flameology as we were ending up with.
You know, it's interesting. I can recall when I was in Philly, I met a guy who practiced Yoruba. And I can recall all of my friends being really freaked out by it. And I must have been 19, 20 years old. You know, I was still in my radical phase. I shouldn't say phase, but like I wasn't voting, and I'm always ashamed of that, but I was tapped out. But I was really into like radical literature. I remember saying, one of my friends said, "Well, you're afraid of Yoruba, but you ain't afraid of Christianity that's taken all over the world, and you're afraid of that. You're afraid of voodoo, but you ain't afraid of how these European religions have devastated and destroyed entire continents. Really?"
Wow.
So I wanted to put that in there.
Yeah.
I wanted to show that, hey, that this is part of the revolt. It's not just physical, because fire is a transformation. Fire is a cleanser. Fire is also a ritual.
That's
How
right.
do you spark a fire? It is ritualistic. How do you do that? So you must know your roots to do that. This book has blood and soil and root in it, right? Then I'm going to also say, research wise, I have a really good friend of mine who practices Ifa,
Ah,
and
yes.
I checked with him.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, is this accurate? This is just part of the writing process. Does it make sense? Does it work?" He said, "Absolutely." Or he told me to add this here, add this there. So I wanted to make sure that if someone like you were reading it or somebody else, they could say, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And this isn't. I don't think it's giving too much away, but there was a scene with dirt, and my friend who's part of IFA said, "Well, they would need the dirt from a soldier's grave for it to be powerful." And that's when Emma Jane says, I changed it a bit. She said, "Every slave is a soldier."
Yeah. Yeah.
So technically, it's not what
Right.
my dear friend explained to me, what I
Right.
researched,
Right.
right? But every slave is a soldier.
That's right.
And then I'll also add, for most of the narration, I rarely refer to them as slaves.
Yeah.
I use the word soul.
That's right.
Now, the characters will say slaves, but I don't say slaves on the field, slaves on the farm, no, souls working, souls in labor, souls fighting, because it is their soul. They are souls.
Yeah.
So versus slave, 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 that kind of language, and that is, when you read soul throughout the book, that is also a ritual I'm doing with the writing.
My God.
I'm intentionally doing that with the writing. Where can I put that in more? And then at one scene when there was a ritual, I say the souls and slaves entered. So
Yep.
I'm doing a merger
Yep.
at one point. They're merging together, right? And they're going to they're about to break apart. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they're merging together. So the book is very rich. That's why I wanted to sit down with you, because these are the nuggets. You're going to feel a lot. You're going to
Yeah.
feel a lot. But
Yeah.
these are nuggets in the book. And I wanted to write something that would stir people in that kind of way. Even if you don't know these things,
That's right.
be like, "Oh, well, this makes sense. Okay,
Right.
I like this. This is interesting." When I was reading the audiobook, there was a guy that you have like a producer outside the studio, and well, I can't really say it, but he just was like, "Oh my God." He said, "I see what you did there." He said, "That was," and he mentioned the ritual in chapter 2. So it is all there, and I intentionally just drop it in there all throughout, because again, it's historical fiction, and when I was in college, historical fiction is when I began to fall in love with history.
Yeah.
The textbooks didn't always. Eventually, they did, but when I read Margaret Walker's Jubilee, Arna Bontem's Black Thunder, Richard Wright's Uncle Tom's Children, not
Yeah.
Cabin Children,
Yeah.
those books just like rocked me. Because then I understood what Jim Crow was. I understood what black codes
Right.
were. I understood what American chattel slavery meant. So in all of that, I am teaching. And also, these characters, they aren't rooted in victimhood.
At all.
It's rebellion.
Yeah. Yeah. Why does that distinction matter?
Because there is this perception that slavery is only about the victims. And I see it as being part of the fighters. The only reason why slavery ends is because of black people.
Right.
Abraham
Right.
Lincoln did not want black folks to fight in this war.
Not at
You want to
all.
know why? Because he knew if they did, it would make it about slavery. All Abraham Lincoln wanted to do was to preserve the Union. He was not an abolitionist. He was a politician. And he didn't care about black people.
And he wasn't an emancipator.
Exactly. He damn sure wasn't the great emancipator, the great liberator. All of this. And because of the constant revolts and rebellions, it was an institution that was going to end by fire.
That's
Now, the last chapter, I tap in that they begin to prepare. They say, wait a minute now.
right,
Once they let these black men fight, they fighting.
right. That's right.
General Robert E. Lee is falling apart now. They
Yeah,
fighting.
yeah.
And so, the final chapter. Actually, let me read the last paragraph. It doesn't give anything away. I just want to share this because I think it's really. Ooh, that court case it just popped up. Baby, let me tell you.
You mentioned Thaddeus earlier. I was gonna cuss, but I'm in front of polite company. Can't stand Thaddeus D. I know that's your guy, but woo,
No, well,
with an
I
asterisk.
want to remind people. So it says the South, its soil soaked with black, brown, and white blood, would attempt to rise under different names, different regions, different politics, and different faces. These false prophets, modern strongmen who wrap themselves in old flags and old lies, will stand again, demanding a return to what was. Make America great again. The presidents, prime ministers, demagogues, and an alliance of dictators will thrive by turning neighbor against neighbor to deflect their own sins. But the spark has been lit, and there will be dissenters, like Lurie, who refuse to bow. No more apologies while wishing for retribution. No more waiting for allies or accomplices. No more mercy. The demise of those who oppress won't be accidental. It will be intentional.
Ashe.
We will answer with fire.
I say, whoo. Oh man. This is on our family reading list. So we're right now we're doing Sky Full of Elephants, and we go around and everybody read 3 pages, and we all read our pages. And but this is our next book, and I cannot wait to share this with my family, with my children. I'm
Can you speak to that? Because people have been saying this book isn't meant for children. What are your thoughts?
Can we talk about? Let's talk about children. Let's talk about children. There is a point where a young character is about to see the results of some fire, about to participate in making some smoke. And there's a question in some of the characters, well, no, hide their face so that she doesn't see it. And the person who is the most wise in this particular moment says, oh, no, she need to see it all. Because if she doesn't see it, there's no way for her to plan for the next time. If she's not exposed to it, how is she going to know what to do when the time comes to fan the next set of flames? And so as a parent, we have an almost 19-year-old, to be 19 later on this month, a 12-year-old, and I think part of the reason the fires have been buried under dirt and have smolders is because our young people are never exposed to the potential of fire-making beauty. And I think that if we were, and this to me gets back to what we should be learning, and truly, and I always say this, our brothers and sisters from the Jewish community would never willingly allow Nazis to educate their children. So when we have turned our children over to an ideology, to curriculum, to school structure, to planning, to educators who were never prepared for us and who have never been challenged really beyond, I know there were bits and fights of, culturally responsive education and a whole lot. We were moving towards that before 2024. But I think part of the reason we persist in such inability to connect with our power is because we often wait until you're old enough to go to college, and maybe you take an Africana studies class, Clay. Maybe you take an intro, but you're not going to major in it, God forbid. And I think if we were having the same sorts of conversations with our children, because my kids could tell you early on in elementary school about the ovens. In 3rd grade, my son, as a New York City public school student, the entire grade went to the Jewish Children's Museum in Brooklyn. And it is a whole museum that talks about Jewish culture, but all the things that they have experienced. And so part of the issue for me is that everybody else is making sure their children understand the good, the bad, the ugly, because how can you be prepared if you don't? And we think we are still protecting them from keeping them away from that information. And I think that scene where there's a young person who might have missed out on what she needed to see, and had she missed that moment, half the next set of years don't happen. But part of keeping our children away from that information is also a form of protection for us because we are often fearful of what answers we would have to give if we were talking to our children honestly, because we have not prepared ourselves to be the flamethrowers and the fire starters that we need to be in this moment.
What's up? This is Clay Kane, and this is my book, the New York Times bestseller, Burn Down Master's House. This book is historical fiction based on real people who fought back. These are stories you need to know. In this time, in this era where our history is being erased, we need to see stories of resistance. Remembering is an act of resistance. You can get the book wherever books are sold, but I encourage you to go to your local bookstore. You have Uncle Bobby's in Philadelphia. I'm a hometown boy of Philadelphia. You have Strand Bookstore in New York City, Little City Books in New Jersey, bookstores all across the country. Support your local bookstore. This book is about community. This book is about coming together. This book is about tying the thread, tying the connection of who we all are as a people. There could be a house in your life you got to burn down. There could be chains in your life you have to break. And this book is the blueprint. Burn Down Master's House by Clay Kane.
All right, welcome back, welcome back. We are at the town hall with the amazing Clay Kane talking about Burn Down Master's House. Give it up for my good brother, Clay Kane. Now, I would love to keep you all to myself because you know I love you deep, and I have more Post-its that I did not get to talk about yet, but I don't want to be selfish. We have this amazing audience here. It is so good to see all of you in real life. Let's get some questions from the audience. Who would like to throw something out into the floor? I saw your hand first. We'll start right here, and then we'll make our way here, and then continue on.
First time I got the mic. Oh my God. Hey y'all, I'm Noah. It's beautiful conversation.
Thank you. Where are you from?
I'm from Philly.
Oh, what part of Philly now?
I'm from West Philly.
Okay, I love it. What street? What block?
So I'm really originally 63rd and Race.
Oh, okay.
But now I'm up like University City area.
Okay, I lived on 63rd and Race for a
Okay,
minute. I did.
that's what's up.
That train stop, 63rd Street. Yeah, the L.
It's a
yeah.
cartoon over there.
It is.
But yeah, really my question was, so the book itself I haven't read yet, but I'm planning on soon. But just from the description and just the passion that y'all were able to exude about it, would you ever be open to adapting it into a television series, film?
Oh.
Or if so, what kind of director would you want to have? Because this is giving me Spike Lee down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. And I don't have anybody that I'm talking with or whatever, but I feel it in my soul that it is going to happen. It's inevitable. I think absolutely. As far as who, I would be open, and I'm going to say this respectfully, and I'm going to say it because Denzel Washington said it here in an interview with Karen Hunter. I do want it to be a black director.
Yes.
All love to Steven Spielberg and all that good stuff.
Okay,
He killed The
nobody
Color
but black
Purple.
touch
Exactly.
this.
I want black.
Yes.
BLACK black.
Yes.
Because as Denzel told Karen Hunter, it's culture.
Right.
Martin Scorsese does all those movies rooted in the Italian experience, right?
Yep.
It's culture. There's a certain experience that we don't all have the same experience,
right?
But there's culture that I want to make sure a black director understands. So if it ever turned into something else outside of that, I would have a mutiny, and I would go all the way off. So that's very important to me. That kind of vision. Even 12 Years a Slave, I know that was a really tough film, but there was something different having a black screenwriter and a black director. It was different than an Amistad. It was just different. So that's very important to me. If folks have asked about the actors, my dream would be an unknown, amazing actor or actress from Juilliard or the Freedom School in Philadelphia. I wouldn't want all the big names. I would just want up-and-coming people who are looking for their big break because there's so much meat in these characters.
Yeah.
And I would want Coleman Domingo to be a part of it because I love him. I met him many, many years ago.
He's super dope. Yeah.
So I see it happening. And but I want it to be raw. I don't want it to be sanitized. Alice Walker was very upset with The Color Purple.
Yeah.
Because they sanitized it. And it was the 80s, I get it. But I want it to be raw now. I want to be.
Coleman could be a nice
Oh,
Solomon.
I
He
love.
could
Oh,
be a
Solomon.
good Solomon.
Solomon's good. That's
I
a
could
good
see him as
character, right?
Solomon. And
Nobody brings up Solomon. That's my dude.
Solomon is the truth.
Solomon
and
is it.
Solomon is we got a lot of us in Solomon.
Yes,
and
we do.
I had said that I wanted to see it on the big screen, but
Yeah.
as I was thinking about it, we were talking off stage, like Underground, I don't think could have worked as a film.
Right.
We needed it to be a series. It should have
Right.
had multiple seasons.
Right,
I
right.
would love to see this as a series.
I'm down. I'm
Oh my
open.
God.
Yeah. Now, of course, my heart. Ryan Coogler, Ava
I was just gonna say
DuVernay.
him. Yeah.
But
Spike
folks
or
have been
Ryan.
tagging Ryan so much. I'm like, has this brother? He's had to have seen this. Like, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But there have been some. Some celebrities who have liked the trailer and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's gonna happen. I know it for
I could
sure.
see Ryan Coogler taking this to
Oh
levels.
my God! Yeah, to the flames. Yes.
There was another hand over
Right
here. Yes.
Gerald brother. In the Sade
In that
shirt, Alan.
Sade,
Alan,
yes.
he wearing is it a crime that you don't like Sade, Alan, or
Yes.
that's
I
Play
wore this
Nation talk?
because of Alan.
Exactly. Gerald brother.
My question actually is a two-parter. From the first word to the last word of your book, how long did it take to write? And then second part, can you see a college professor building a curriculum around this book?
Yeah, absolutely.
Second part, absolutely.
Yes.
I read so much historical fiction as a student at Rutgers University, and I would love when we would have a chapter to read or certain page numbers to read, then we would go with the classroom and chop it up. I mean, I had such great professors, Dr. Zain Abdullah at Rutgers, Dr. Barbara Foley, who's retired. She was a white professor. Baby, she was a Tina Marie of Rutgers University.
Wow.
Quick story. I'll never forget, she had a radical literature class. It wasn't black radical literature. And she goes, you should take this class. And I liked her so much, I thought, okay, I'll take it. And it was all black authors except for one.
Wow.
And the student raised their hand. And they said, excuse me, this is all black authors. I didn't know it was a black radical literature class. And she goes, let me tell you something. She goes, I've been in so many college courses where it was called radical literature, and it was all white authors, and nobody said anything.
That's right.
And now you're saying something. I said, yes, Tina, out on a limb. Fire and desire. Yeah, so that's my dream. I would love that. There's so much analysis in there.
Yes.
There's imagery in there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I also wrote it. It's very accessible. I don't think it's. I just think I wrote it in a way where I wanted it to make it plain almost, right? So, and that's the kind of stuff I like, whether it's music or art, raw, plain, go for it, guttural. I just want you to just go off, right? So I began writing this book like 20 years ago. I wrote the first chapter, but I called it Magnolia Row as a short story.
Wow.
So I began. Karen read an early version of this, right? So I began writing it 20 years ago. Tried to get it published. Everybody said no, and nobody wanted it out there. And so then, as you're in college, and as I'm just, even after college, you're still, I'm still working for various places. I would find all these articles and research, and I just kind of kept all of them. And then when I got the book deal, it was time to finish it, but it was pretty easy to finish because I'd already wrote so much of it.
Right.
And with fiction, you have to give them pretty much more or less a finished product before they accept it. It isn't like nonfiction where you give what's called I'm getting in the weeds now, but like a book proposal and you outline each chapter. They got to more or less have the skeleton.
Okay.
So it was a 20-year period, but it all kind of smoothed out. And then when I was finishing it, I was incredibly ill. And so then a lot of it just got poured in and injected with all these thoughts in my mind and my soul. So honestly, it was 20 years. And I also didn't want it to be like 500 pages. I was thinking of The Bluest Eye and The Color Purple.
Right.
I really like that kind of length. I'm not saying I'm Toni Morrison or Alice Walker, but I'm saying the length of it.
Right.
I remember that really hitting me in a powerful way, having that kind of shorter book versus a Margaret Walker, who I love, Jubilee, is like 450 pages. Yeah. So structurally, it was I was able to work all that out once I got the deal. Yeah.
Yes, right here.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Trevina.
I finished the book. I started it the day after Strand, and I finished it on Sunday, and had to take some time off after chapter 2, and in the middle of chapter 3, I had to
breathe.
Yeah.
But reading it, the whole time I was reading it, I was thinking about Alexa,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to know from you where is she in that book?
Oh,
Did you
really good question.
her personality,
Yeah.
her spirit,
Yeah.
in which of the characters maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that part of the process?
Absolutely. Alexa is in two characters. She's in Miss Emily. There's a scene where I describe because Miss Emily is very ill. I describe Luke and Henry walking in, looking at her. And that was basically what I saw when Alexa was in her hospital bed. So I haven't told anybody that, but that's the description of the eyes being half lidded was basically what Alexa looked like. So definitely Miss Emily and Josephine, because Alexa loved that character and she told me to go harder. And Alexa does not like violence. She will not watch horror movies. She doesn't like to see blood or any. I'm saying like she's still here. Well, she is still here.
She's sitting right.
Yeah.
She's
She'd
sitting
like,
there
she'd be like, tell the truth now.
And she said, "Don't make me look bad in the hospital bed."
Exactly. You know, and she was still beautiful in the hospital
That's
bed,
right.
as was Miss Emily.
That's right.
But she said, go harder. I want more. And she said, this is what I would do, what that character does. So those two especially. And I can recall Alexa calling me after the Josephine chapter saying, I read it twice. It's brilliant. She goes, and the way that you shaped the women in this chapter is so great. So Alexa was a true feminist. And, you know, at Strand, I was saying this. There's a little bit of so many people who read the book early on. My friend who was there from Kansas, he gave me some feedback. Kansas, you know, Lurie has roots in Germany and is a New York girl. She gave me feedback. Alexa, a Dominican girl, Afro-Latina from Washington Heights, she's in there. My roots of Gooseland, Virginia is in there. My roots of Philly is in there. My roots of my mother is in there, right? My mother told me, my white mama said, you must write this book because other folks wanted me to do the Griff part 2. And I said, I don't want to do that. Yeah. And my mother said, I just got to chill. You must write this book. Tell them motherfuckers what it is. That's my white mama.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah. She said, you must do it. You must do it. But Alexa is all up in there. And she's in there. But it definitely is Miss Emily. And Miss Emily is a force in that chapter. Yeah. I always wear Alexa's class ring on my neck when I go anywhere. This is her class ring. Her sister gave it to me at her wake. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should pour water for her.
Exactly.
And remember her name. Exactly. Remember her name.
But I really appreciate y'all always asking about her. You know, let's do these two. Yeah.
Clay. So I've got two comments. One not necessarily to do with the book, but the one that has to do with the book is about the being.
Oh,
the element
yes.
of the being.
Yes.
Masterful.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
The being, you talk about nature.
Yeah.
It was a way for this person to escape what they
Yes.
were going through.
Mm-hmm.
And to see the bee come up later on in
Yes.
the book. So I'm not giving anything away.
Yes.
I was smiling broadly.
Yeah.
The being. The second, not having to do with the book, but it does. So I listened to all of the accompanying music.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it all.
Thank you.
Clay Cane Radio. Oh my God. Blues and gospel, y'all.
Yeah.
Serenity.
Oh, that was just a fun thing for me to do. Just promotional stuff, you know.
But it was so anointed and good.
I know,
Like I use that song as my rejoin now. One of my rejoin. I love Burn Down Master's House.
It was fun. I mean, it's just that I did because I did a version of it just via the AI stuff, and then somebody took it and did a full version of it.
Yeah.
So then a friend of mine said, you got to do a full version just to protect just the lyrics that you wrote. So it was just fun to do, just promotion, because I had my publisher really wasn't doing anything. So, and then I had to just use what I had to make something, and even the book trailer, that's all AI video. That's all that I had to try and be creative and promote. So it was super fun, and I'm just glad. I'm shocked people were just digging it.
That's spirit talking again.
Right.
Because in the condition that we're in
Right.
now,
You gotta find a
we're
way.
using everything.
That's
that
right.
we
Yeah,
have.
exactly.
So-
I love that. That's so
Yeah.
cool. That's so cool.
That
Thank you,
bee
sir.
was one of the non-human characters I didn't get a chance to talk about. But
bee,
nature is so present as a character in this book. And
Let's get it back here.
oh yeah, oh sorry.
Yeah,
All right.
y'all will read it, but
Y'all gonna
you're
have
the
me
first
ask a whole
person who
nother
brought up the
episode.
bee.
Yeah.
There's so many, and there's also the pink snake. There's a pink snake in there.
Yes.
The pink snake. Brother Mark, where you from, Mark?
Hey Clay, how you doing? Hey, living in Brooklyn. I'm looking in Bronx, but Brooklyn born and raised.
Yes,
right.
yes, yes.
Brooklyn forever, brother. So as I told you previously, thank you for signing the book. I appreciate it. I just got the book last night, and so I only got through the introduction, and that's kind of where I want to start with you. My question really has to do with moving forward, because you ended your introduction speaking on the fact that the book was a reckoning with history,
Yeah.
but it's a call to action. So for me, beyond voting, because I know how hard you go with the non-voter and speak so highly of that being the largest voting bloc, the non-voter. What do you see as the future narratives for us to start with moving forward in the future? What are some calls of action that you would like to see that would spring forth from the writing of this book? Because to me, this is all about, everything you mentioned was about remembering.
Yeah, remembering is an act of
Remembrance
resistance.
and
Yeah.
remembrance it's the strongest act of resistance because it brings forward knowledge, whether it be genetic
Yeah,
knowledge,
yes,
knowledge that comes from what we kind of know but has been suppressed. You have to have that knowledge, ponder over that knowledge.
Yes.
It comes sometimes fast, sometimes slow for others, but it takes time for people to finally act. Action comes with time.
Yeah.
And for different people, it hits people at different times. There's
Exactly.
a season for everything.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
for everyone.
Yes.
So what do you believe are some things you would like to see as action for us as a people? Because once we've got that momentum of memory, what do we
Right.
do with it?
Right, exactly.
And in addition to that, I love the fact, I would like, because I know you know Karen very well.
Yeah.
Karen is really strong on this I am. Which she got from the Lovecraft country thing.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
Right? And what that means. But when you speak of the collective, as we as a people, I believe in the we are.
Yeah.
And just like I am whatever I want to be. Whenever I choose to be it. And I feel the same way in terms of us as a people. We are whatever we want to be. And whenever we want to be it, because we are everything and we are anything we want to be. So what are those calls of action that you would like to see that would come from the right?
I'd love for you to speak to this too, which you felt the call to action was. So here's the thing: it isn't one uniform call to action. I think it varies for each person. What I'm asking the reader is, what do you need to burn down? I was saying it earlier. What is the house in your life you got to burn down? What fire is purification? Fire is a cleanser. I believe that fire is also transformational. So it's not like we're all going to have this one, right? One of the things that I'm asking to do, that if you were activated and triggered by this book, hopefully it will push you and move you to learn more about your history. Make sure your children learn more about your history. I truly believe the reason why we're in this circle of foolishness, of getting 10 steps ahead and 20 steps back, is because we refuse to tell the truth. So I'm screaming from the rooftop, this misinformation and disinformation is dangerous. We must combat this collectively.
Right.
We must spread the truth collectively. In whatever way you can do that, via a link, getting the book, telling a friend, whatever the case may be. This is killing us. It is. Can you imagine if they would have had, I mean, they had a version of it, but had it to this degree after the Civil War? The lost cause narrative was their version of it. So I'm asking people, find out what you can do. What can you do? Now, we can go further. Do you want to join a nonprofit? Do you want to donate? Whatever. Maybe it's just making the pound cake, for a meeting, whatever the case may be. But it really depends on the individual. They all had individual ways of fighting back. It wasn't all the same, but they were all always inspired and triggered by somebody else, right? So in this moment, Mark, there will be casualties and losses. I can't give all the answers of what the end of it is going to look like. And I know this may sound, I was saying this at Rutgers yesterday and folks sounded a little bit sad. It's possible that we may not see the other side of this in this moment. That is possible. When they overturned the 1875 Civil Rights Act in 1883, the next one didn't come until 1964. So I'm trying to plant the seeds, whether I'm here or not, whether we're here or not, and hopefully in 5 years it'll be good. 2 years it'll be good, hopefully. But we got to plant these seeds to preserve whatever is coming next. And you got to find out, as Lurie says, what your superpower is. So my call to action isn't here. What can you do? I'm a writer. You know, Lurie is a lawyer. Maybe whatever you are on the job or whatever the case may be, what is it within you? And if you're moved by the book, if you cried around the book, if you felt anger around the book, then I'm doing my job. And so I'm asking you all to do your job. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the tangible things, I could go through the entire list.
Yeah.
Lurie's broken that down, what that looks like. There are things we can do every single day. I know some folks don't like No Kings, but they are having a training. I have folks on my show pretty much every week of nonprofits. I love the nonprofit angle. I love that. I mean, voting is important. I go to hell on that. But nonprofits saved my life when I was a kid in West Philly. So I love supporting a nonprofit. I love donating. I love showing up with nonprofits. You know, that's a biggie for me, right? And there's some they did some nonprofit work in this book too.
So did.
Anything that you...
I think what I'm hoping my family takes from it is what you talked about today on your show, where Gil Scott-Heron says, once you can turn this, everything else you can figure that out. But so long as you have not engaged in revolution here, then it's, well, I can't do that. They'll get upset, or I'll lose this and I won't be able to do that. But once you're free, and there are points in the book where you can see that the thing that Gil Scott-Heron is talking about has happened for the character.
Exactly.
There's one character who is experiencing the bee who has a pep in that step.
Yes.
After some decisions done been made.
Right.
Once it's been made clear to that person that there is something that can be done, and I wouldn't have known to tell her what to do in that moment.
Right.
But once she was clear here, it was as if the ancestors, through the elders and through everything that she had experienced, made it crystal clear. And so I think if we were to, I think the calling on my life is to help create the systems that allow for that light to come on. So that's why I talk so much about freedom schools. That's why I do the work that we do at the Center for Law and Social Justice, a nonprofit. But I also know the limits of nonprofit organizations. So I can't even limit my activism into that space. But I think that if we could all commit to doing the work here, and not just individually, but creating environments and ecosystems that require us, those who are not willing to be a Nathaniel, right? Not a Nat, but a Nathaniel. Those who at least have had enough seed and enough, if we're going to a farming analogy, that the soil is fertile and they're open, and they who have an ear to hear, let them hear. If we could create systems that were able to pull that out, I think, quite frankly, it's people that ain't even been born yet that's going to have solutions that could exceed anything that I could concoct. And I think if we could all do that, I don't see how this doesn't continue to evolve in the way that it needs to.
Let me add one thing before we go to you, brother. The other thing I'll add, and this is woven in the book, it's not explicit, but what hurts me is to see and this is now, I'm just talking about black folks for a minute. I know every community does this. When I see us throwing other people away, because we sometimes dismiss our elders.
Yeah.
Oh, well, these older black folks keep voting this way. Well, they are voting.
Right.
Right?
Oh.
That doesn't cause unity within us. When I see LGBT folks being kicked out and saying, "Oh, well, you're not really a part of our community. You're part of the problem. It's the gay agenda." Not knowing the horrors that black LGBT folks experience, even within LGBT communities. And there's a very interesting white, what we perceive to be LGBT character in this book as well, right? So I don't want us to throw each other away. And I say this respectfully, even this whole debate on who is really black if you weren't born in this country and all this kind of stuff. The first character that we introduced was not born in this country.
That's right.
So I am really tying together the global majority. There's a small character in here in the book named Pedro. You'll see who he is too.
Yeah.
I am tying together the global majority.
Yeah.
And we are not going to win if we throw each other away.
That's right.
Now, if you're upholding white supremacy,
Gotta
get out.
go. Bye-bye.
Get out.
Deuces.
That's different.
Yeah.
But if you are in the fight with us and you are on our side, we can't throw out James Baldwin. We can't throw out Shirley Chisholm, whose parents weren't born in this country. You know, we can't throw out Alfonso Schomburg, an Afro-Latin man, the Schomburg Museum named after him, right? So there's that too. That's because I'm seeing so much division, chopping up. Look what happened with Kamala Harris.
Come on.
There's a variety of reasons why she won, but the debate that I heard in the barbershop, is she black?
Right.
Is she really black?
Right.
That hurt. That hurt us.
Yes.
That hurt the black voter turnout.
That's right.
That's another thing. Like, look at all these. And in the book, for the most part, except for one character, no one's skin color is described as far as black people.
Right.
And no one's light skin, dark skin described. You think who they are, you know what I mean? But I am really hoping that this, hopefully it's a long shot, breaks down some of the fissures that we have around blackness.
One thing that was interesting, just to continue that before we get to another question, nobody was tied to the geographic location.
Yeah.
They had families who had passed and had died on this land, but when there was an opportunity to transition out of the current geography, which was where they were kept trapped, nobody was like, well, my ancestors died on this land. I can't go.
The borders.
The borders. Imagine how limiting that would be if we took some of the philosophies that we have concocted out of thin air today, and if we had applied that back then, how limited would our concept of freedom have been?
Well said. Brother,
Okay.
one more question? How much? Where are we at a time? I have no
It's
idea.
4:20.
Okay, we just talking.
Okay.
We're over? We can stop? Okay, say it again, Amina. Okay. Go ahead, brother.
Hi, my name is Alexander Wright. Currently living in Harlem. Originally from Cleveland Heights, Ohio.
He was at Strand, y'all.
Yes,
thank you for coming.
Thank you guys
And
for
you
getting me in the room.
sing.
Yes,
I've seen your
I'm
Instagram.
an actor, a singer,
Yes,
a writer
yes, a
myself.
performer,
So thank you for the call to
yes.
action.
Thank
That
you.
just completely recharged that for me.
Oh, thank you.
My
You might
question-
have a role in the
Well,
movie or the Broadway show, brother. I see a little Solomon up in you, brother. I can see it happening.
And the ancestors are all over.
Yes.
But my first question was, what inspired you to bring the LGBT story element of the story into the story, and is it just from your own experience as one of the Rainbow Kids, myself as well, or just generally something that you thought needs to be more brought to light? And then my second part of my question was, do you think that we have not, as a people, ritualized the black church? Because as I was watching Richard Smallwood's funeral like 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, this whole thing is us. If you don't know us, you simply don't know what's going on. So, and as you guys were talking about the black church and just talking about all of our spiritualities and how that plate, I would call myself bathed in blood washed, but a Christian might call me something other than that.
Right.
But that's not really for someone else to determine what you are and how you get to that light. But yeah, I really want to know those two things from you today.
I mean, I would love to see the black church more deeper in rituals, more embracing of those kind. You're right, Richard Small. I mean, but again, it kind of goes to what I said before. That's what's so fascinating about it. I mean, in black church experiences, I was baptized apostolic in Philly. Okay, I was baptized apostolic, as deep-rooted in Christianity it is, there is still something, pieces of it that's very African, even if they may look down on, that woo-woo stuff.
You call that African.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would hope that things are changing a bit, but I don't know. I mean, I heard CeCe Winans say that she didn't want to sing on Whitney Houston's Be in that video, I'm Every Woman, because of the line, I will cast a spell. I don't know. And that's why I think so many young black folks are disconnecting from the church, right? But I'm totally down to see more of that. And that Richard Smallwood, and I never met him, but Ted Wynn was very close to him. He was a man of love.
Yes.
He was a man of spirit. He was clearly anointed, right? So I want to see more of that. As far as the LGBT angle, well, that's how the story began because, I was reading a book called Taboo. I think it's called Homosexuality in Black Communities. And there was a brief chapter about sexuality during slavery. And there was these two men mentioned, Luke and Henry. And there was only one sentence. And that just, I was like, that's it?
Wow.
That's it. That's really, really it. That's like, all we're going to get is, wait a minute. Is this the news?
No way.
It'll be live. I'm on the radio right now. Do you have good news?
I have good news.
What is it? Oh, he hung up. Oh my gosh. It's about to. Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark. Oh my gosh, record
Are
this.
you on Wi-Fi? Are you connected to Wi-Fi? Connect to Wi-Fi.
Oh, damn it. Oh my gosh. Call me back, Mark. Call me back. Call me back. Come on now. Oh my gosh, Mark. Oh gosh.
Let me get ready to shout.
It
Hold
hung
on.
up.
Yeah, hold on.
It
Help
hung
the
up.
Holy Ghost.
Come on, Mark. Come on, brother.
You need me to call him on my phone. What's happening?
Mark, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We're on the radio right now. I believe you have really good news. Tell me.
All right, Clay. You've hit number 5 on the New York.
Oh my God! Oh my God! This is crazy! Oh my gosh! Number 5? Number 5? We're here with the live, wherever there's a studio audience, number 5. Oh my gosh, Mark, keep going. Anything else? It hung up again.
Hallelujah!
All right.
Oh my God.
Congratulations. Number 5 on the New York Times hardcover list is amazing.
Oh, woo!
I can't believe I got this news right now. Wait, let me try to connect to Wi-Fi. Hold on one sec. This is crazy.
Give me a fan.
Number 5.
Oh, Lord.
Do you know how
Oh
many
my
folks
God.
told me that it's just
Oh my
fiction is too
God.
competitive?
But
It's just
you know
not going to
what?
happen.
Them the same people that was not helping you when you needed the help.
Exactly.
And God needed an example of us doing it for ourselves.
In the moment. Hold on one second.
Oh
Let me
my
see if I
God.
can
Okay.
get Mark
Am I
back
there?
on.
Okay, I know.
This is a really.
Oh, all right.
This Mark is a really. He's my John Brown. Can we get him on? Is he gonna call?
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, is it there? Well, we got the news. We got
the news.
Okay.
Oh, Clay.
Sorry.
So can we just acknowledge that when the systems that we're supposed to rely upon abandon us, when we think that we have to be plugged into their machines to accomplish things, look at God.
Look at God.
Look at God.
Wait a minute. I
my
just have to.
goodness.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Number 5. This is crazy. Do you know I was up against juggernauts? I was up against so many people. Oh my gosh.
But you had ancestors, sir.
I have.
You
know what? Exactly.
Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Alexa right now is
Alexa,
high-fiving
she's
with
doing the
everybody
work.
else.
She's doing the work. Why can't I want to call Reese. Can
Oh,
somebody
let's
call
get Reese.
somebody call Reese,
Oh, my
please?
Lord. Oh my Lord.
Somebody call Reese. I got it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
This is what they're just trying to
Oh, this is a. Oh my
Hey, Reese,
gosh.
can you hear me? It's Lurie.
Reese, can Reese hear me?
Okay, Reese.
Reese, are you
You're
there?
on live. You're on the air
We're on the
because
air.
we are
Reese,
with
can
Clay.
you hear me?
Yes.
I'm hit. We're on the radio. Oh my God, Reese, I hit number 5 on the New York Times bestsellers list. Hardcover fiction, number 5. Can y'all? Number 5. I'm here. We did it, Joe. I'm here with a live studio audience. I'm here with. Hey, it's Reese, y'all. Reese, I hit number. We did it, number 5. Nobody. They said I couldn't do it. Oh my. Okay, Reese, I love you. I'll call you later. I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate you. Oh my God.
Okay, so bounce now.
Yo, let me just say this. Thank you, Amina.
Oh my God.
You know, man, it's been so. And listen, it's not all about the list. I want to be clear about that. But it does matter. It does mean something to me because I worked really hard for it, right? And I like I said earlier, I had no no support from legacy media, very little support from my publisher. I used the tools that I had to try to make this work because I care about these stories.
Yes.
I care about these stories. I care about these people, these souls, because other people decide who gets to be remembered.
Right.
And I said, if this book can be as successful as possible, they will be remembered. They will be talked about. They will be honored. So to be in this space, wait, Marcus texted me, it's okay. Going to send you a screenshot and forward you the copy as well. Oh my gosh. You have an actual, oh gosh. Just means so much to me because I worked really, really hard. And there were times I didn't know. I mean, the rejections that I was getting from people. Because the other thing is, and Joyanne Reed said this, in this moment, y'all, they don't want stories like this.
At all.
Even folks who look like us.
Yes.
I had certain shows
Too
who
many
wouldn't have me
Nathaniels.
on.
That's
and,
right.
and not The View. The View was amazing for me. They changed my life 2 years ago. So The View was incredible. So I don't want any, but The View was, Whoopi Goldberg put me on that show. That is part of the reason why this book is so successful now, because of the grifts. I want to be clear. So I'm not talking about The View. Sunny, the producer's there. It just didn't work out this time.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that. I'm saying other people, other outlets that could have elevated this story, they didn't. But it just shows you, y'all
That's
are the
right.
tastemakers.
That's right.
Fuck the
That's right.
gatekeepers.
That's
Fuck
right.
who says yes.
Right.
I said it will be intentional. It will not be accidental. This took time, 20 years in the making, right? Having to write stuff I didn't care about, having to sit down with people when I did celebrity stuff that I didn't care about, writing stories, getting fired 1,000 times, getting rehired, being broke. Literally, off radio with WWRL, and it was Karen Hunter who brought me to Sirius XM and said, I will give you an hour show. I will give you a 2 hour, I'll give you an hour show live, I'll give you a 2 hour show, I'll give you a 3 hour show. This has been, I'm 48 years old, right? Just trying to get through. And to have this is so important. It's my way of burning it down.
Yes.
And I believe this book can have that kind of impact. So I'm just so grateful to be there. I'm telling you, so many folks, people that I admire said that it's too competitive. You're not going to be able to do it. And if I'm correct, because I was looking at what it could be comparing to the USA Today list. Unless somebody else jumped through, that would be beautiful. But if I'm correct, I might be the only black man on the fiction hardcover
My
list
God.
for the New York Times.
Wow.
So that at this point this week,
Yeah.
so in
Yeah.
honor of Carter G. Woodson, my man Frederick Douglass, today is Rosa Parks' birthday. I am just overwhelmed with joy, but it's y'all.
It's y'all.
I am from the hood of West Philadelphia
y'all.
and the trailer parks of Washington State. I am not supposed to be here, and I am.
You know what? I'm going to push back on
Push
that.
back, you
You
right.
are, not only are you supposed to be here, it was ordained for such a time as this. This book, the contents of this space that is giving black people who have not been allowed to experience the full range of our humanity and our emotions, to have something like this give us permission in as accessible a manner as you did it, telling the stories that we've had to whisper. Clay, it was ordained, friend. It was ordained. And again, we don't need nobody but ourselves.
That's right. That's right.
We need only us.
That's right.
We need only us.
And you know what? I have to burn that down in my own
Yes.
mind. That I
Yes.
needed all these other people, that I needed whatever this
You
or
ain't
whatever
need
that.
nobody but us.
Exactly. You know, I didn't get no LA Times review, no
Who dat?
any of that. But I had reviews on social media. I had y'all talking about it, y'all spreading the word. This is organic.
Yes.
This is organic.
Yes.
And because the book did so well, they had no choice. And to quote Whitney Houston, I love it when they have no choice.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Oh my God,
goodness.
number 5. In fiction and nonfiction, I did it. Y'all, I just thank y'all for supporting me. And how magical is it to have you here, Trevina? You laid eyes on Alexa. We cackled. We got drunk in Mexico together. How? Right. Just to be here and, oh my goodness.
Wow.
All right.
Right?
I'll figure it
We
out.
thought you weren't going to get this call until later tonight.
5:30,
We were
yeah.
We were trying to I was like, Clay, you ain't gonna make it on time.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna get it
this
in.
is what it was all supposed to be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Wow.
yes, absolutely.
In community. Clay Kane,
Yes.
we love us some you.
Yes, I love y'all.
Oh my goodness.
I love y'all.
Any final words or anything you want us to hold on to?
I just want y'all to, I mean, it's a simple line from the book, but I've had to hold on to it. Just don't let them take what they can't touch.
That's right.
Just don't let them take it.
That's right.
We all have our gifts. We all have all of our things we can lean on, right? Don't let them take it. I am just grateful and happy, and I've done a lot of work. You know, I've had so many, I've done a lot of work, and I was thinking about you, Alexander, just talking about, I remember being a young boy, walking the streets of Philly, and a lot of my friends died of AIDS, died of HIV. I've seen a lot,
Yeah.
you know, and my first book must have sold like 50 copies in 1 week. So to be here 9 years later, because Live Through This came out in 2017,
Wow.
is amazing, and I'm grateful. And I want to thank y'all. It means so much to me. I really want to thank y'all. It really, really does. I'm here. And you know the deal. I ain't never really gone. What's up? This is Clay Kane, and this is my book, the New York Times bestseller, Burn Down Master's House. This book is historical fiction based on real people who fought back. These are stories you need to know. In this time and this era where our history is being erased, we need to see stories of resistance. Remembering is an act of resistance. You can get the book wherever books are sold, but I encourage you to go to your local bookstore. You have Uncle Bobby's in Philadelphia. I'm a hometown boy of Philadelphia. You have Strand Bookstore in New York City, Little City Books in New Jersey, bookstores all across the country. Support your local bookstore. This book is about community. This book is about coming together. This book is about tying the thread, tying the connection of who we all are as a people. There could be a house in your life you got to burn down. There could be chains in your life you have to break. And this book is the blueprint. Burn Down Master's House by Clay Kane.